want you to see this story on Bevelyn Williams. Now, she's a pro-life advocate that was basically accused of a crime in February of 2024, and this was done under the Biden administration. So she was accused of violating FACE. Now, FACE is the freedom to access a clinic entrance. So basically, they are accusing her of not letting patients go into a clinic, a reproductive clinic, if you know what I mean. But here's the tricky part. This happened, like the act of Bevelyn Williams doing this happened in 2020. And in 2020, she was not arrested. She was not accused of a crime. No charges came against her until 2024. So I want you to take a look at her story. Take a look.
Well, what's so crazy is that I'm indicted right now. I was found guilty and I'm sentenced to 41 months in federal prison for preaching the gospel in front of an abortion clinic. Exactly that. The event happened in 2020. Okay? Police were on site both days of the event. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I had no type of charges or forthcomings with the police at all. Once Trump was out of office, they sued me on an injunction to keep me 30 feet from the building. And so because I had moved to Tennessee, I just went and settled without admission of guilt because I was no longer in the state. And then in 2022, right after Dotson was overturned, they beefed up the charges and indicted me on a federal charge with the secret grand jury that they had that I was not aware of. And they indicted me with FACE and conspiracy of FACE for the exact same event that I wasn't arrested at, that I had no kind of police encounters with. The police were on site there, and they went ahead and indicted me for FACE. Basically, they said things like me saying, no peace for the wicked, and we cancel this place in the name of Jesus. Those are forms of threats. Me talking to women, and I think one day of the 2-day event, 150 women were scheduled to do abortions. None showed up. That they considered that obstruction. You're interfering with women's care. And I'll never forget this. Before they sent the jury back to deliberate, the jury was told, this is not about the Bible. This is not about religious beliefs. This is about women's rights. And I was devastated to see the jury come back with a guilty verdict, but to preach the gospel and preaching things out of the Bible that may seem warfare, it may sound like warfare, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm invoking threats and violence. I'm speaking in the spirit. So yeah, they found me guilty and the judge sentenced me to 41 months in prison. And what's so crazy is that my lawyer, who's appealing it now, he said in normal cases, something like this wouldn't have even gone federal. And he said for them to sentence you to 41 months, which the judge said in front of me, she said, well, I'm going to make an example out of you. You had 65,000 people watching you at a time, and people need to know what the consequences are when you interfere with women's rights. She said it straight up. And so they didn't care about me being a mother. They didn't care about me being a stay-at-home mother. They didn't care about the fact that I'm not a repetitive offender. Didn't care less. They gave me 41 months and 2 years supervised release. Hey y'all, let me say something really quick. During my sentencing, the prosecution stood up and told the judge, amongst other things, one of the reasons why I deserve the sentence that I got, this is what she said, that I need to get 41 months, is because, during the Jesus Matters rally, the 2-day Jesus Matters rally, and on one day alone, 100 to 150 women was scheduled that did not come in to get services. These are her words. This is what I'm going to say to you. it's easy to judge, and it's easy to say, oh, you know, if she actually did do the things they accused her of, she deserves her consequences. You know, that's a better way to do things as a Christian. There's a better way we should do things to minister, and there's a more smoother way to do it. You heard the numbers. Stop judging people and start doing what God called you to do.
So in Matthew chapter 5, verse 10, it says, "Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for this is the kingdom of heaven." And so even though Bevelyn didn't say this in the video, but it just, from my observation, it seems like she had a strong conviction for just advocating for babies that do not have a voice. So the reason why I'm sharing this video with you is because President Donald Trump pardoned Bevelyn Williams of her 41-month sentence. So he did that on Inauguration Day. And so I wanted to share that with you. And I don't know if you remember this in the video, that where she said that pretty much the reason why this case, a case was brought against her, allegedly, based upon Bevelyn, this is what she said, Bevelyn Williams, she said that the judge told her that she wanted to make an example of her because 65,000 people on social media saw what she did, and she wanted to make a point to everyone so that they do not try to, do the same thing. So I always have to go back. You have to go back to Ephesians 6:12 that says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Because really, when you think about it, like, she was not accused of a crime in 2020, but then all of a sudden, there was charges pressed against her 4 years later. And we know that these are spiritual things, especially since she was praying a spiritual warfare prayer at the clinic. And this is the other thing that the judge said, was that, well, 100 to 150 people did not go into the clinic to have their services rendered, if you know what I mean. And so basically she was saying that we cannot allow people, believers, to think that they can stop this from happening, which just makes me think that it's really spiritual. It's good versus evil, and the devil against God's plan. So, but you can tell me what you think in the comments. I just wanted to share this with you. She's been pardoned, Bevelyn Williams, and so I think that's a great thing that she took a stance, and God's favor, it had to be God's favor, that she didn't have to serve the entire sentence. So I just wanted to share this with you, and until next time, this is Felicia L. saying,